you know?
Okay, so tip number one was understand that every medium's different
Every audience is
audience,
different. That's
right?
right.
Every audience is different. Tip number two is you got to have a bunch of content. You don't want to blow up before you have something for people to consume. And so what's tip number three?
Tip number three, and you kind of hinted at this, is you want to experiment with different formats. And as my journalism teachers used to say when it came to editing, you don't want to be too precious with your work. Sometimes what you're working isn't working. And so you need
Mm-hmm.
to recast it. You need to change it from third person to first person or whatever, when it comes to writing. I found the same thing when it comes to this medium. So my first major video is about Brene Brown and emotional intelligence. And it
Mm-hmm.
was about 6 months until I started getting really serious. Around the time I started getting really serious with YouTube. So it's probably March or April of 2021. And I got about 10,000 views, which is a lot for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I did more of that kind of content. I study a lot about emotional intelligence. I worked with my coaches through it, or the people I coach, I worked them through it. And so I did more of that. And there are a lot of other videos that did well, but not as quite as well as this one video. Then I started playing around with the shorts format, which is similar to TikTok or
Mm-hmm.
Instagram Reels, that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like 60 seconds or less.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing with that. It was almost exactly a year ago. So it was about a year ago I started playing with that. I started doing a short a day just to experiment with it. That was one of them. In February, one of the shorts ended up getting 10 million views. And it was a wrap. It's like, okay, that's where the hockey stick is right now. I'm still
Wow.
doing lots of different shorts, having fun with that. But now this month in September, every workday I'm going live at this exact time, 1:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going live with y'all to get your questions, to deal with certain topics as far as the startup world, as far as mental and emotional health, things of that nature, things that side hustlers and solopreneurs deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I have certain lives where I'm connecting with y'all where a couple thousand of y'all have come through. That's a
Mm-hmm.
different vibe right now. So I think that's kind of the third tip, is to not say this is what my show is. Notice I keep calling it the show. It's not a YouTube channel, it's a
Mm-hmm.
show. So treat it like
Mm-hmm.
that. So it's like, all right, this season, I'm going live all September. Let's go. What do people want to talk about? The community down here. Let's see what's going on. What
Mm-hmm.
do y'all want to hear? And that's going to be the vibe for this month. And there's certain people that have come in right now that were kind of on the sidelines that are getting more involved with the community I'm building at bringyourworth.tv because I'm going live every day. And so don't be afraid to like mix it up, change it up, go in different directions and see what works. Doesn't mean you have to throw away what does work. It just means don't be afraid to grow. And again, I'm approaching 3 years with bringyourworth.tv. So I'm sure the environment on YouTube is way different than it was in 2020. And
Yeah.
so embrace that change. You know what I mean?
So what's the biggest mistake you see creators make on YouTube?
Trying to go with the trend right now. That's the but I that's across the board. You know me
What
well
do you
enough. You
mean?
know, I've talked about this. What I mean is that right now, what might be hot on YouTube is quick cuts and me jumping in my seat and doing this, whatever. On TikTok, it might be doing a dance with four penguins, which if you're on TikTok, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm not.
That's cool. I love to dance, and you should see me at karaoke. However, that
Hashtag
is
tax
not
worthy.
the nature of my show. That's not my vibe. So I would focus on things, even if you get a little bit trendy, that's fine. Focus on those things that actually stand the test of time. Like this bookcase, this little blazer, this vibe, whatever.
Classic.
It- it- this doesn't
Classic.
go out of style. This
Never.
like this is my shirt. Like you can buy the shirt at damebrown.net. Never goes out of style.
Yeah.
Black shirt,
Yeah.
whatever. It's super
Yeah.
simple.
You're not
The mug
chasing the
doesn't go out
shiny
of
new
style.
objects, is what you're saying, basically.
Thank you. And it's hard to do. It's hard to do. But that, and I know that might sound contradictory to trying new
It
things.
sounds boring too.
Exactly. But that's the thing. Even what you
But
were saying,
if it's
which
consistent, it doesn't matter, right?
exactly. But that's exactly the point. They know, as far as the community, and even some of y'all that are watching, you know the vibes. If you're going to tune into
Mhm.
me, I'm going to be
Yeah.
talking about passive income. I'm going to talk about
Yeah.
what's in your artist contracts, whether you're a creator or you're an entrepreneur. I'm going to talk about how
Mhm.
you can build your startup while you got little kids screaming at home. I'm
Oh,
going to
look
talk
at
about
that
all that.
substance. Not all the flash, but actual substance.
You're being too kind, but you understand what I'm trying to say. Like,
I do.
yeah, yeah.
I struggle with this sometimes, at least in my head. You know, this is why I talk to my therapist. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, the we all have that problem. The problem is that consistency is boring.
Mhm.
Like I'm not going to blow smoke up whatever. I'm going to say,
Mhm.
yeah, I was about 300 episodes in, and suddenly I went from about 900 subscribers in January to, you know, about 10,000 by Valentine's Day. That's what happened. But how did it happen?
Steady,
Well, the tips I
consistent.
talked about, but also I kept
Mhm.
showing up for 299 episodes. And then suddenly, it's not magic. It's like consistency. This is what Damon and
Mhm.
BringYourWorth.tv is about. I can
Yep.
trust that he's going to provide this substance. And I think
Yeah,
that's what it always
basically
comes down
evergreen.
to.
Look at this comment. Basically evergreen content, right? Exactly.
Evergreen, right?
Because what's
So
hot with the jumping up and down today, like 6 months from now, you're gonna be like, what is this foolishness?
exactly. If it was a year ago, we'd be talking about AI. If it was the year before that, we'd be talking about crypto. If it was a year before that, we'd be talking about the pandemic. Year before that, we'll be talking about blogs and whatever. I talk about this all the time. Like I'm
You know,
really big into media, so it's always the next wave. But how are you going to make a wave? How are you going to be consistent? If I were to be gone right now and my kids were to dig up my channel 10, 20 years from now, everything I talk about on the channel is still going to be relevant. It
wow.
might be, a new TikTok instead of talking about TikTok, but it's the same vibe. That's what I want. I want that, like you said, evergreen content.
Yeah.
And
And
that's why I have the Bring Your Worth show, because I want to continue to support people even when the winds change. I want them to be able to say,
yeah.
I can count on Damon to give me the truth about what's happening.
All right. So that third tip was don't, follow the fads is what the third tip was. So to summarize, the first tip was just understand each platform has a different audience. The second tip was make sure you have enough content because you don't want to try to blow up if you don't have sufficient content. And honestly, it's not very likely to happen anyway, right? And
No.
the third tip was, stop chasing the squirrels and the shiny objects. Be consistent. He's building, produce,
While at the same time not being afraid to experiment a little bit. So
not
I
being
think
afraid to experiment. It's okay to
it's a
try
spectrum.
new things, but he's not going for the shiny uh squirrel type things. It's okay to try new things because if the platform is going to be promoting shorts and you're still doing long form content, well, that's not necessarily smart if you want more people to see your stuff. If you don't care, that's fine, but you have to be open to changing as well. So those three tips basically is how Damon went from zero to he's got almost 20,000 followers or subscribers on his YouTube channel now. You can go to bringyourworth.tv over on
Thank you.
YouTube.